You are now listening to Asking for a Friend with TalkDoc, sharing insights through real, honest, and practical ways to improve your communication and relationships. Featuring your hosts, Dr. Pamela Kreiser, Meredith Edwards-Nagel, and Teighlor Polindo.
Okay, we're back with another AFAF Rewind. What do we have, Teighlor?
Okay, we're going back to one of the first episodes. This is episode 5, our shutdown mode, how to stop stonewalling. So this is one of my favorite episodes. I think a lot of people identify with it. Stonewalling is one of the 4 horsemen identified by John Gottman, and he can predict pretty quickly if you use one of these styles continuously in your relationship's going to end. So I think this is why it's one of our most popular episodes ever listened to, for good reason. Those of us who stonewall, yes, I identify as one. It goes over tools and just how to stop and what to do maybe if your partner is stonewalling you. So take a listen.
Well, I think stonewall is more of a checking out, and defensiveness is a protection of self.
Yeah.
So it's more common in defensiveness for you to say, no, I'm not, no, I didn't, and engage versus disengage.
Oh, okay. Because when I feel defensive, I shut down. I stonewall. Mm-hmm. So I do check out. That's, I think, my response to being defensive.
I think they go together potentially. I think you do have more than one horseman operating at the same time. Unfortunately, those are all check engine lights, right? Yeah. So it's like, oh no, the check engine, the tires, every light's going on the dashboard. And so that might mean some trouble.
I like that visual.
It was really helpful. Yeah, because I remember in school thinking that I was basically screwed when we learned about this in conflict resolution.
Oh, yeah.
But I like that you said they're just check engine lights. I'm like, oh, okay, we can work on this. We're not doomed. Yeah, I think you said that.
Yeah. A lot of people do think that from Gottman's research, because he really talks about them as precursors to relationship termination. So everyone goes, oh my God, relationship termination, it's over. And what I would say is, in your car, the check engine light comes on and you continually never address it, probably your car is going to end up ruined. Don't just let all the whole dashboard light up.
Yeah.
What about you, Mare?
I resonate a lot with what you were saying, Teighlor, in terms of feeling like, oh, when I hear this word, and I've learned about, this research from you and your classes, Dr. K, but also just in knowing that this is something I struggle with. And so for me, I've never thought of it as the warning light. It's just my biggest failure. I feel like I really only struggle with it with like dating relationships. I've never felt the desire to stonewall a friend. I think I have done with my siblings before, regretfully.
A separate episode, stonewalling and other misbehaviors.
Yeah. But it's true that the times I struggle with this are the people that are the closest to me. And I resonate with that explanation you gave with physical barriers. Instead of using like a phone or something, I feel in me this thick thing rising like right in front of me. And you will have these voices in your head that are like, come on, just say something. And I probably have had people look at me and think I give that glazed over look like I'm not there. And I hate that because I feel it on my face, but I don't know how to go to the mechanic to turn the light off.
She's right here. She's helping us. She's gonna teach us.
I can even just reflect in dating relationships. The part of reasons why they hadn't worked out is because I couldn't address this in myself. Like something kept stopping me from addressing it. Now, I think part of it is, I think you've said this before, Teighlor, sometimes it's a good part of getting older is just going, God, I really don't know all that much. It's okay. I'm good with leaning into that feeling.
Yeah.
Rather than feeling like I have to have it all together all the time. And so, yeah, I'm ready for the mechanic. Take me there.
Mare, I hear you. I think we have always room to grow, but was it refreshing at all? Because I particularly remember learning about this topic in conflict resolution about 10 years ago and just thinking I was so screwed. And now readdressing the topic, I feel like we've come a long way. I'm not as overwhelmed. I'm not as like, oh God. And I feel like we've improved. We've grown.
I think you have for sure.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
both of us, all of us, we're learning.
So Teighlor has.
Yeah, Teighlor, you totally
You don't
have.
feel like you've grown since learning about this?
I can say from 22 to now, yeah, I feel I've stepped in a better direction. I've made at least a step or two in the right direction, but this is a thing that just eats me. What I'm learning about myself is that this is not just something to think about in terms of this is my weakness. I am a failure. I am reframing this area of my life and trying to talk to myself in a way in those moments when I feel that thick, muddy wall in my face. And I'm trying to use the reframing that we talked about last week now in saying to my own brain in those moments, because I can't get out of my mouth hey, I'm flooding, partner. I don't know how to get to that place. Mm-hmm. So I need to start learning how to talk to my own brain and say, this is happening to you right now. You are not this thing. So how are you going to lean in to let this not turn into a check engine failure or break down the vehicle car thing? So yeah, my need right now is for maintenance. I'm here for a maintenance check. It's my weekly checkup.
Do you feel like you don't? Well, I guess no, because these are very intimate relationships with you. I was going to say I tend to feel it in more relationships where I don't feel super safe, where I'll stonewall more. But you're saying that you do it in your more intimate relationships.
Yeah, I'm just a little more messed up than you, Con. Thanks for letting everybody know.
No. Come on. I think we have paid attention. Teighlor's the cuckoo one.
I think the big question is always, what does this thing do communicatively? And so what does it do? It is a response to the threat or the perceived threat of the cost of vulnerability.
Can you dissect that for me?
As you weigh that risk coming, you're like, oh no, here's a chance where I'm going to have to be vulnerable. Here's a chance where I might have to say something and maybe even look weak or be honest about something. What I think is interesting about the extreme cases of emotional flooding is this idea that we get this physical response and we can't even recover. Like our body says, no, you're done.
Yes, exactly that feeling.
When you said we lose capacity for rational thought, I was like, well, what are we supposed to do with that? Like, we just can't even think anymore. So how are you supposed to improve or even take the steps? Because we've just lost all our rational thought.
I think what's funny is that people instead, though, try to stay in the interaction and they say, come on, talk to me. What's going on? What's going on? And that's exactly what the person who's having this physical response doesn't need to hear. It's like, okay, well, I'm crashing and burning here. I'm in shutdown mode all the way. And then you're demanding that I talk more. And I'm struggling.
So that's where we take the break.
I think so. It's all about function, right? If that functions for you and the whoever it is that we're talking about with you, great. If it works. If taking a break that's longer works, great. If you saying I'm getting flooded helps slow that whole process down, great. It's really about what the function is of those different attempts communicatively. And I'm only about function there because I don't think it works perfectly the same for every relationship. You could say I'm flooded to a girlfriend and they would be like, pass me the Chardonnay, and you're like, okay, I meant that I was flooded, right?
I love it.
It's different in context.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just tell people I need some Chardonnay then? That's easier than saying how I'm really feeling. Can I just wrap around that vulnerability moment? Speaking of emotional flooding, I like that you discussed it, educational explanation for what this was. And I wrote down brain, body, too much.
Yeah. Overwhelmed. These are the conversations that people feel overwhelmed in. And what happens, I think that's so hard for that moment is for us to engage in understanding the humanness that we all share. So you have people demanding get out of that mode, like just talk, come on. And if you've had any instance of flooding, so maybe you've had that happen, perhaps in a grieving situation, you can't just get over it.
Yeah.
Like that feeling you're having in that moment, you're not going to just be better suddenly because you told me to be better. I'm actually can't function. And on some level, I think we need to maybe get more in touch with that concept that, as Teighlor pointed out, all rational thought has left us. And since it's left us, don't ask for rationality.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. So then we have to say, when will it come back? Will it come back if I leave? Will it come back if I take a break from this? Will it come back if we have a different conversation at a different time?
That really helps the voice in my own head.
I think a lot of times the person emotionally flooded gets a bad rap where it's like, come on, say something, say something, say something. And they literally have lost most of their ability to be able to do that productively in that moment. And that's why Julie Gottman's so big about saying, you have to reset that communicative event. It's unrealistic to just think you're going to plow through it with a lot of talking.
I really resonate with that.
I like the Gottman Institute. You can go online and subscribe. They'll send you little helpful emails every week.
Yeah.
I get those. I'm like, oh, how can I help myself this week? So once again, check out episode 5, Shutdown Mode, How to Stop Stonewalling. Hope you enjoy.
Once again, thank you for joining us today. Please remember to rate, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And thank you for listening to Asking for a Friend.
Let us know what you thought of the episode. Our email is hello@afafpodcast.com. This show is for educational purposes only and is copyrighted. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting. Thanks for listening to Asking for a Friend with TalkDoc.